longer. The News Hour with Leslie Roberts. Good evening.
Don't take your life in your hands like that. Don't risk it.
It is a dire warning from Canadian doctors trying to put a stop to a new vacationing trend. It's called medical tourism. We'll fill you in coming up on the News Hour. Well, now to a new trend in vacationing, one that doesn't involve getting a tan on the beach, but heading to a foreign locale to go under the doctor's knife instead. As you can see, Christina Stevens is here. That was your story today, Christina.
Well, yes, and Leslie, the big question tonight is just how far would you go for surgery? These days, more and more people are heading halfway across the world. For a long time now, we've heard of people going to the U.S., but there's now a Canadian company that's advertising in Ontario to go right overseas.
And waiting for surgery, changing your lifestyle? Here is an option you
As waiting lists continue to head skyward, medical tourism has become the new buzzword, leaving the country for surgery and a vacation.
And rehab in an exclusive 5-star resort.
Surgical Tourism Canada sends patients to a chain of hospitals in India, much cheaper than the U.S.
We're hoping to reduce the wait list on the one hand and help people that are really in pain.
But reaction is decidedly mixed.
Over the years, I've seen several patients with some really bad problems.
Dr. Peter Nelligan warns regulations vary widely among countries.
What constitutes a specialist may be very different than what constitutes a specialist here. I've seen one patient who had liposuction in Mexico who got infected and came back and ended up having to have major surgery here to treat the infection.
Both surgeries can happen anywhere, and the only way you can avoid that is by doing your due diligence, which is what we've done. We've made sure that we only go to the hospitals that have a good reputation.
And there are supporters. A liver transplant recipient, George Marcello, knows only too well what it's like to have your life hanging on a wait list. He says with all the restrictions in Canada, it's nearly impossible to do a live kidney or liver donation from a stranger, making it worth it to pay to go overseas.
This is an option that needs to be incorporated as we're still struggling with our shortage.
OHIP will pay for some out-of-country medical expenses, but you have to get permission before you go. And you have to show that either the procedure is not done here or that the wait for it is so long it would risk your health.
So who's most likely to head overseas?
There are younger adults in their 40s that have, orthopedic problems, but they're athletic and they don't want to wait 2 to 3 years.
Still, Dr. Nelligan insists if it's about waiting a while or saving money, it's not worth it.
Don't take your life in your hands like that. Don't risk it. If you want to save $1,000 on a car, fine. You can sell the car if it breaks down. You can't sell your face if it breaks down.
Now, he says part of the problem is in follow-up care. Consider that once you leave the hospital, you may not have access to that doctor or the same healthcare system as here. Now, if you're considering it, they say to make sure to ask what happens in the event of complication. Will you be covered for other emergency care when you're out of the country?
Lots of homework to do here. Now, the attraction, of course, is price, and it's cheaper, but how much and why?
Well, it's significantly cheaper. They're saying it's anywhere from half the price to a third of the price of the same surgery that would be done, say, in the U.S. or England, two countries that have the same kind of regulations as Canada. Now, apparently it's a better deal, mostly just because of the favorable exchange rates. They say the quality is just as good. It's the money just not worth as much. So
well, lots of caveats from doctors tonight.
Absolutely.
All right, Christina Stevens, thanks. Well, plastic surgery.